All right, today we are going to learn how to place your document into more than one column. And again, columns do go vertically up and down. And so to do that, let's first see how easy it is. It could be as easy as going to page layout and to columns and set it to multiple columns, 1, 2, or 3. They have these presets here. If you went to 2, you could see that up in the ruler that we have it in 2 columns right now. There's a space between. I can see that because my ruler is on. You have the shortcut above your scroll up arrow on the right, that you have that shortcut, and also in view ruler. You can turn that on or off. You can see that we are in 2 columns, so it is easy, except for most pages don't want the entire page to be in 2 column format or 3 column. They want part of it to be in 1 column and the rest to be in a different set. So if I turn it back to 1 column, usually you always want the top of the page to be in 1 because you're going to title it. And so let's just say that I use a title here, and you can type this in for your practice. We have the top at 1 column. I'm just going to make it larger so it's like a title. And now let's say I want this here, and I'm going to separate this part of the page from the rest as we go down. And so to do that, I'm going to use a break. In this case, if I go to page layout and to breaks, I can go to a continuous break, and you can see kind of the graphic that shows that. Sometimes if you're not sure if it's there, you just flip back to your left align and it'll even spell it out for you, or whatever you have to do to be able to see the full break. And so from here, everything below it, above it we're in 1 column. Now below, I could set this to be 2 columns. And you can see from on the ruler that we have it in 2 columns. The top, if I click up here, is in 1 column. And so we have successfully separated them and got them to what we want. Now we're going to work some more functions with making columns. Let's say that I were to type in, I have a sample, type in anything here. And let's say I'm done with this left column. To go to the right column, I can just go to page layout breaks, and now we're going to use that column break to go from 1 column to the next column. When this goes up here, we might even finish the left column, and we might want part of the page to be in 2 columns and the bottom part to be in 3 to go back to 1, whatever it is. So and if this is all I want to be in 2 columns, we can put in another continuous break because that's going to divide the page into sections. So we might be 1 column up here, 2 here, and below that we could have anything else, whichever amount of columns we want. So I'm going to put in another break. This one is not taking me to the next column. It is a continuous break to divide the page into sections. And so now we can see the 2, the 1. Now below here, let's just say we go 3. And just to introduce it now, instead of having a normal 3 or typical 3, I'm going to go down to the columns and more columns. So we're down here, we're set to 3. They're all even. And for them to be even, you can see that this box will be checked. It keeps it simple when you don't need it to be different. You don't need different sizes for the columns. But if I uncheck this one, you can adjust the spacing, which is the space here between columns. By default, it's 0.5. If we put it down to 0.2 and hit OK, you'll see that the spaces will reduce down. I'm going to go back in. My cursor's still in the same place, so I'm in the same spot. And you can adjust these that way. You can also make them uneven here. And you can really do whatever you need to here in the columns section. So I'm going to leave it at 3 uneven ones, and I can finish in this section. I could then go to a column break to go to the next one. And I could column break over to the next. And I could even put in another section break, continuous break. It shows up as section on your page, but continuous break, and go down, and I could set this to go back to 1. And if I needed another title, and do that. So continuous breaks divide the page into sections, and you can go from one column to the next column using column break. The finishing of the page, you can change it to different amounts, or excuse me, to have different columns in different sections, and that is creating columns.